Welcome to part 5 of the Blender Design Figurine tutorial. We start with the same file we worked on in part 4. We have modeled the figurine, rigged it with an armature and set up IK targets on the legs. Now we can animate a simple walk cycle. First, let's set up the window. From the screen layout menu in the top header, choose the animation layout. Remove the 3D view in the top right corner by right-clicking on the separator below, choose Join Area and place the arrow on the view to remove, then click to confirm. Let's also drag down the timeline separator, we only need the header there. For a clear view of keyframe recording features, right-click in the menu area of the timeline and choose Collapse Menus from the pop-up. As we work, we'll resize the views as needed and also use Ctrl up arrow and down arrow to enlarge and decrease the view. In the render panel, I'm going to set the frame rate to 30 FPS and set the end frame to 35, the duration of a single walk cycle. Make sure we're at frame 1. Press numpad 3 for side view and Z for wireframe shading. In the Active Key Set field in Timeline, select Lock Rot Location Rotation. Click the red button for automatic recording of keyframes and click the button next to it to record to Active Keying Set only. Every time we move a bone or an object, a keyframe will be recorded. Select the hips bone and press G followed by Z, enter -0.07 to move it down, bending the legs into a slight crouch. Let's also press T for Tool Shelf to see operator feedback. And disable the widget. If it is active again, we won't use it. Control-click the large square to select the right shin target. Press G0, Tab -0.51, Tab 0.02 to move it for a step forward. Notice in the dope sheet how the keyframes are automatically created, as well as the action data blocks to which they belong. Press Z for solid shading. Control-click the smaller cube, the right ankle target. Press G followed by Y, enter -0.02 for a slight roll of the foot. Select the right toes bone and press R to rotate, enter 2 for a slight upward curve. Select the right thigh target and press I to record a keyframe, no movement is necessary. Control-click to select the left shin target and move it with G0, Tab 0.6, Tab 0.2. Control-click to select the left ankle target and move it with G0, Tab 0.26, Tab -0.15. Select the left thigh target and move it down in front of the knee, doesn't need to be positioned exactly. Select the left toes bone and press R to rotate, enter 45. That's the starting position of the legs done. The right foot is slightly off the ground, let's bring it down a bit. Select the large square, the right shin target, and press G followed by Z, enter -0.013. OK, good. Now move to frame 8. With the large square of the right shin target selected, move it with G0, Tab 0.62, Tab -0.02. Press Z for wireframe shading. The right foot is now slightly too low. Move it up with G followed by Z, enter 0.008. Press Z for solid shading. Select the right ankle target and move it with G0, Tab -0.006, Tab -0.03 to level the foot. Select the right toes bone and rotate it very slightly with R to rotate, enter -1. Select the square of the right thigh target and move it in front of the knee, no need to be exact. Select the hips bone. One thing we forgot, but it isn't too late, is to turn off Auto IK. Let's do that in Options tab of Toolshelf. Now move the hips up slightly with G followed by Z, enter 0.05. Select the large circle, the left shin target, move it with G0, tab minus 0.5, tab 0.31. Select the left ankle target, move it with G0, tab minus 0.054, tab minus 0.054. Select the left toes bone and press R to rotate, enter minus 22. Select the left thigh target and move it slightly forward in front of the knee. Believe it or not, we've established all the leg positions we need. The rest is simply repetition to complete the cycle. Select the big square, the right shin target. In Object Properties panel, Motion Paths pane, set Display Range End to 35, then click Calculate and OK to confirm. Now we can see the positions of this object at different keyframes and we'll be matching these positions in new keyframes. Select the big circle, the left shin target, and repeat the procedure. Set Display Range End to 35, click Calculate and confirm. Now go to frame 18. Select the hips bone and move it down with G followed by Z, enter minus 0.05. Select the large circle, the left shin target, and move it down to the motion path marker on the lower left. Zoom in and hold down the Shift key for precision. Select the left ankle target and move it to obtain a very slight upward angle of the heel. Select the left toes bone and rotate it for a slight upward angle as well. Select the left thigh target and move it up a little closer to the knee. Next, select the big square, the right shin target, and move it up to the motion path marker on the right. Zoom in again for precision. Then select the right ankle target and move it so the ankle bone is past vertical between 5 and 6 o'clock position. Select the right toes bone and rotate it up so the tail ball of the bone is above the floor slightly. We can see how well the positions match by pressing Shift back arrow to move to frame 1, then quickly pressing up arrow twice to return to frame 18. Do this a few times, then adjust positions at frame 18 if needed. My match is quite good, but I'll make some corrections on the right foot. There, that will do. Select the right thigh target square and move it down in front of the knee. Now on to frame 25. Select the big circle, left shin target, and move it to the lower central position. Select the left ankle target and move it back to level the foot. Select the left toes bone and rotate it down to level it as well. Select the big square, right shin target, and move to the upper central position. Select the right ankle target and move it so it's vertically down from the shin target. Select the right toes bone and rotate it down by about minus 25 degrees. Select the hips bone and move it up with G followed by Z, enter 0.05. Select each thigh target in turn and move it ahead of the knee. OK, now move to end frame 35. The positions there should be the same as on frame 1, so we're going to duplicate the keyframes from there. Enlarge the dope sheet view. Check that action channels of all 6 targets and the armature are displayed. Make sure you're in dope sheet view, not action editor, and that the arrow icon in the header is unselected. If for some reason all channels are not displayed, select all the objects in Outliner. Mine are OK, so let's continue. At frame 1, click the keyframe diamond at the top in the summary channel. This will select all the keyframes below. Press Shift-D to duplicate, then drag the duplicates to frame 35. OK. Reduce the dope sheet window with Ctrl down arrow, then press play in timeline and admire your work. 2 things are immediately apparent. Because frame 1 and 35 are the same, there is a slight pause between cycles. This won't appear when we play a number of cycles over a distance. Blender will remove a frame for smooth motion. And there is a problem with the toe of the right foot sinking into the ground too much. Let's step through the animation to find the cause of this. The problem is in the curve interpolation on the movement of the right shin target before frame 18. It travels lower than its left counterpart, even though their keyframe positions are the same. That actually makes sense, as the keyframes are different. On the right shin target, the motion is between other keyframes, but on the left shin target, the motion is toward frame 35, the end frame, with interpolation not as smooth. This is something we can fix in Graph Editor, and we'll do that later. OK, let's now complete the animation of the rest of the figurine. Move to frame 1. Disable automatic keyframe recording to avoid needlessly recording keyframes on hand poses. Press numpad 1 for front view, select the right hand, then press Shift-G and select the group. Apply the right hand relaxed pose. Press A to deselect all, select the left hand group from the armature panel and apply the left hand relaxed pose. Select the right hand bone and turn on Auto IK and turn on Automatic Keyframe Recording. Using front and side views, move the hand and rotate the right arm bones into a trailing position in sync with the left leg. Next, select the left hand bone and with moving and rotating, move the left arm into a forward position in sync with the right leg. Let's give the figurine a slight forward curve in the torso. Select the chest bone and in side view, move it forward slightly. Use bone rotation if Auto IK isn't responsive enough. The upper body should turn slightly left and right during the walk. Select the abdomen bone and press R followed by Z, enter -8. Then in front view, press B to select bones of the upper body, including the arms. Shift-click the hand bones to include them in the selection. We want everything except the legs and the fingers to be selected. Now, from the Pose menu, choose Copy Pose. Move to frame 18 and from the Pose menu, choose Paste X Flipped Pose. In Dope Sheet, click the top keyframe diamond on the armature at frame 35, selecting all the keys below it. Press X and delete the keyframes. Click the top diamond on the armature at frame 1, then press Shift-D to duplicate, and drag the duplicates to frame 35. Now play the animation. There's too much back and forth nodding motion in the torso. The hips bone is rotating too much. Select the hips bone, press numpad 3 for side view, and go to frame 8. Press R to rotate, enter 4. Go to frame 25 and repeat. R to rotate, enter 4. Now play the animation again. Great, it's not going to win any awards, but for this designer's figurine, it's a good start. We can get rid of the motion paths. Select each of the Shin IK targets in turn, and in Properties panel, remove the motion path by clicking the X button. OK, we can now turn this into a proper walk by animating the rig object to cover a distance. In Outliner, select the Design Figurine Rig object. At frame 1, press I to set a keyframe. Move to frame 35, then press G followed by Y, enter -3. Play the animation. Feet are slipping forward, so we're going too fast. Move to frame 35 again and press G followed by Y, enter 0.2 to move the rig object slightly back. Press Shift back arrow to return to frame 1, but now instead of playing the animation, step through it by pressing the forward and back arrows on the keyboard. As you can see, at the beginning, the right foot slips back, but then later the left foot still slips forward. We must fix the interpolation of the rig object. In Graph Editor, the View menu, enable both only selected keyframes handles and only selected curve keyframes. At the top of the list, in the Design Figurine Rig action, reveal the Y location channel and click it. In the graph view, press A once or twice to select all, then press the period key on the numpad to zoom in. Press T and choose Linear Interpolation. Stepping through the cycle again, we now have slipping both forward and back. We must fix the interpolation of Shin targets. Select the big square right Shin target, and in Graph Editor, display and select its Y location curve. Arrange the view to see the keyframes well. Move to frame 1 and step through with arrow keys slowly, paying attention to the right foot. Select the first keyframe, press V and choose Vector. Step through again from frame 1. Some backslide toward the next keyframe, and it seems to continue after it as well. Select the second keyframe, then drag the lower handle toward the curve to flatten the line. It's better but not completely solved. That can only mean that the rig object is moving too slowly. Select the rig empty, go to frame 35 and enlarge the Properties view. Set Y location to -3 as we had it originally. Automatic keyframing will record the change. Step through again and select the big square, the right Shin target. OK, that's as good as we can expect. Let's move on. Step through toward the end frame. There's too much low-level travel there, the foot should hit the ground more decisively. Select the last keyframe, press V and choose Vector. Bring down the top handle to just under the curve. Select the Z location channel, Then select the last keyframe and press V, choose Vector. Stepping through, the hit is too decisive now. Bring the first handle down quite a bit, like so. Okay, that's great. Let's now fix the problem of the sinking toes. The problem occurs between frames 8 and 18. If I were to rotate the handles of the third keyframe for an ease-in, ease-out effect, the problem would be solved. But now the foot drags on the ground, doesn't lift quickly enough. So let's undo and fix the problem differently. Select the right ankle target, then display and select the Y location channel in Graph Editor. Step through toward frame 18, then select the third keyframe, press V and choose Free. Lower and shorten the first handle for a flatter line before the key, and raise the second handle slightly for a small hump after the key. Stepping through again. That looks fine. Now the left shin target. Select the big circle and in Graph Editor display and select its Y location curve. Select the first and the third keyframes, press V and choose Vector. Stepping through, there's some backsliding towards the fourth keyframe. Select it and move the lower handle level with the curve. That's better. Select the Z location channel. Let's correct the foot dragging at the beginning. Select the first keyframe, press V, choose Vector. That's better. Select the third keyframe, press V, choose Vector. Then, to soften the hit, move the top handle down quite a bit. And to correct the foot dragging toward the end frame, select the fifth keyframe, press V and choose Vector. Finally, the toes sink a little too much. Select the left ankle circle and display the Y location channel. Select the fifth keyframe, press V, choose Free. Drag the first handle down a bit. Step back a few frames, select the fourth keyframe and drag the second handle back toward the keyframe a little. Like so. Now the whole cycle behaves reasonably well. It's kind of mechanical, but that's to be expected. And that completes this part of the tutorial. On to part 6, where we extend the walk, learning to use it in a longer animation with starting and ending actions.